Hello everybody, my name is Eric Wood and welcome to Eric Talks, the show where I talk about things that are important to me. And today I want to talk about the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, with liberty and justice for all. This is a weird sentence and a complicated sentence, not just for all the political implications contained within it, but also grammatically. When I was in middle school, I stopped saying the Pledge of Allegiance for a while because I felt like I didn't understand what this sentence was saying. Pledge and allegiance and republic, these were all words that weren't super well taught to me at the time. But over a couple of years, I began thinking very critically about it, and eventually I decided to start saying the Pledge of Allegiance again right around midway through high school. But even when you understand all of the words and their dictionary definitions, it still doesn't make a whole lot of sense, particularly this part of the sentence right here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. Grammatically, this is kind of a confusing question. The "it" refers back to the flag, and it's unclear whether or not you are pledging allegiance to the flag and the republic, or if the republic is tangentially connected because it's represented by the flag. To illustrate kind of what I mean here, I'm going to read the Pledge of Allegiance for the Republic of Korea. I, standing before the noble Taeok, oh boy, I better check to how to pronounce that. Taeguk. All right. There we are. I pledge in front of the proud Taeguk flag allegiance to the Republic of Korea for the eternal glory of the country, liberty, and freedom of the Republic of Korea. Now, that's a lot simpler of a sentence. I'm pledging my allegiance to the Republic of Korea, and the flag is there just as a symbol, more or less, of the country. In the same way that Christians would pray before the cross, even though the cross isn't what they're praying to, the cross is a convenient symbol for Jesus. In the same way, the Taeguk flag is a convenient symbol for the republic, but the republic is not the flag, and the republic is the subject of allegiance, and the flag is not the subject of allegiance. This is not how the United States Pledge of Allegiance is structured. We are first and foremost pledging our allegiance to the flag, only tangentially to the republic for which it, the flag, stands. This is a really complicated idea to contain within a relatively simple, pleasant... There's a garbage truck outside, and I'm irritated at that because it's ruining my flow. So we're going to wait patiently for the garbage truck to go away. Now, of course, everything I just said is one grammatical interpretation of how we should be looking at the Pledge of Allegiance. It's very possible to read it as we are pledging allegiance to the flag and to the republic. But it's really interesting just how much the flag is put front and center and how dependent the republic is to its relationship to the flag. What it does is create this really interesting issue, which isn't present in most other national pledges of allegiance. In other national pledges of allegiance, it's explicit. You are pledging your allegiance to the nation, to the country, to the structure of government that governs that country. In many pledges of allegiance, you swear your soul and body to the defense of that country. This is a much more traditional method of pledging your allegiance. Pledges of allegiance have been a part of human government basically since humans started organizing themselves. The easiest way to think about it is in terms of feudalism. You have a minor noble or a minor lord, and they pledge to their lord a certain set of things. They pledge money, they pledge men, they pledge their loyalty. And in exchange, the government, the lord above them, pledges certain things back. And this is very useful. It's a reciprocal promise. If one side breaks the promise, then the other side isn't bound by that promise any longer, and you can go to war and enforce your promise. But this was always very complicated, particularly for people at the very bottom of the social structure. People who were allowed to have weapons generally didn't need to keep promises to people who weren't allowed to have weapons. And so when America was working on founding its nation, it was very cognizant of being different from the old feudalism of the old world. And one of the ways they did that is by really hating people. Thomas Jefferson famously said, if men were angels, there'd be no need for government. Almost every member of the founding fathers, of the Constitutional Convention, of the First and Second Congresses, all just thought people kind of sucked. And the idea of pledging your allegiance to a person was kind of absurd. Now, to be fair, the Pledge of Allegiance didn't exist for about 100 years after the Founding Fathers, but that idea was there. You pledged allegiance to ideas. You were dedicated to ideas, not to people and not to governments. So as we began to construct our pledge, it was important to kind of separate our pledge from our government, because what if the government betrays those ideals? And that's really the key. If the government betrays its own ideals, then you're still maintaining your oath of loyalty because you didn't proclaim an oath of loyalty to any individual or any government. You pledged your loyalty to the flag and tangentially to the republic for which that flag symbolically stands. This creates an interesting situation where if the republic moves, the flag doesn't. This is America. This is Americanism. This is what I celebrate every time the 4th of July rolls around. But ultimately, the point is being a patriot or being patriotic or loving your country can absolutely, at least in America, be totally divorced from what your country's up to at the moment. There's an ideal. And this flag represents that ideal. Whether or not it's here, or whether or not it's ever been here, or whether or not it will ever be here, is really besides the point. Because when you were a little kid and you were pledging allegiance to this flag, it didn't come with the baggage that would come with pledging allegiance to the republic if that republic doesn't represent what this flag represents. And frankly, I don't know what the flag represents entirely. I have my thoughts, I have my opinions, and I'm sure you do too, but I'm still pretty optimistic about this flag and for the republic that it's supposed to represent. I'm pretty optimistic about the ideas of democracy and federalism and a nation ruled by laws. And you can have all sorts of complicated opinions about the state of all those things here today, but when I go and watch fireworks today and eat barbecue and get up to all sorts of 4th of July nonsense, I'm doing so in celebration of the flag. My complicated opinions about the nation and its current state of existence be damned. So whether you think the president is an asshat, or you think the Supreme Court is filled with asshats, or you think Congress is full of asshats, don't worry, you don't owe any of those guys any loyalty. There's a lot of things to be worried about, whether it's abortion or gas prices or the collapse of the global economy or the 1,001 other things that are kind of on our minds this 4th of July. That flag still represents an ideal, and I feel comfortable celebrating that ideal regardless of my complicated feelings towards the government that happens to rule over me. And while the rockets' red glare and the bombs bursting in air, it stayed true through the night that our flag was still there. Y'all have a good day.